dropping a car vlog, a live vlog on my lunch break. I'm not gonna be here long. I'm gonna try to uh, finish up my lunch, but make sure you guys are having a good day. Make sure that God loves you. Oh, messing up. What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Classic. Welcome to the Take It Home podcast. This is a quick live that I will be doing before I go back into work. If nobody tells you today, remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. God bless you, Raphael, and everything you continue to do. I love you guys, and like I said, we are celebrating 1,500 subscribers, and I'm truly grateful for that. Robert Brown, Lafayette in the building. What's happening, brother? God bless Raphael. God bless Robert Brown. Make sure you subscribe to the Take It Home podcast where I talk about professional wrestling topics, and I put up my matches as classic out for a professional wrestler of 13 years. Happy belated birthday, Robert Brown. Your birthday was yesterday. Yes, sir. What's going on, Arshawn? What's going on? God bless y'all. God bless y'all. Make sure you also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling. Me and my wife's professional wrestling company that we have gotten back April 30th from the 11th hour. The matches from the 11th hour are slowly but surely getting uploaded to YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling to see promos, to see a lot of the stuff. And there's big news, hopefully, Lord willing, by next week for certain things. So make sure you subscribe to both. I see WrestleMania 43 will be in Saudi Arabia. Thank you, sir. Subscribable Chief. I'll make some shirts. Subscribable Chief. That's funny. I wanted to talk about Bianca Belair real quick. I'm about to tell y'all, Robert. So a few days ago, they announced that WrestleMania 43 will be in Saudi Arabia. I forgot exactly where, so forgive me for not knowing the actual location, just in case people from there are looking. So basically, they did a little panel. They had the guy from Saudi Arabia. I don't know him. Like I said, I don't be looking at this kind of stuff like that. So they had Undertaker was there, Charlotte was there, Bianca was there, Stephanie Barcour was there, Liv Morgan was there. It was a lot of people there. And basically the jokes going around was that they did not look happy. And honestly, what's going on, the Ardents? What's going on, Deanna? They didn't look happy there. And, like I said, with everything and the climate that goes on in Saudi Arabia, a lot of people are happy to go there. And I think a lot of people did want WrestleMania to stay in the States for the most part, or go to London, things like that. People have been clamoring for that for the longest. So Saudi Arabia giving them all of that money for them to go there is business. It's all about where the money goes and stuff like that. So the guy, I don't know his name. See, I don't know his name. Is it Tom? I don't know. So he asked a question to Bianca talking about women's history and what she has done in Saudi Arabia, basically wrestling like 9 times and stuff like that. So I was trying to ask her about women history in Saudi Arabia. Sorry, Chris. I'm so sorry, man. My prayers and condolences, man. I'm so sorry for that. Thank you. Thank you for subbing the art. Man, I'm definitely praying for you, man. It's definitely trying times, man. So, like I said, praying for you and my prayers and stuff like that. Praying for you, praying for your family and stuff like that. Like I can only imagine. Actually, I do know how they feel. It's definitely it's a hard thing, because I think what's wrong with us as humans is that we try to make grief go away, but it doesn't. Grief is a form of love, and I've learned this from other people saying it, and that's very important, because there are going to be times where you may just break down, or you may just need time to yourself and stuff like that. So remember that grief is a form of love, and I think that the more we try to get rid of that, the more that we are going to love that person, and that hole in our heart and stuff like that, it messes up. Our normals change every day, so dealing with this kind of normal is very, very painful. I lost my brother over 10 years ago, so it's still difficult to deal with sometimes, even when I call my mother. But still, I'm at work, the Arnett. But Bianca basically said that Saudi Arabia is a place where women can do amazing things and make history. So I'm paraphrasing. So people was upset that she said that. Now, Bianca didn't even look, appreciate you, Robert Brown. Bianca didn't even look like she was even happy to say it. Like, once again, when we read the room, we read the room with sadness. Like, we literally read the room with sadness, right? Nobody want to go out there, but it's so much money, and whatever deal that they had between WWE, Vince, and all of that stuff is going full force and stuff like that. They're just trying to make money at the end of the day. That's just one of the things that they're trying to do, and they'll go all the way to Saudi Arabia to go and do it. So, with that being said, obviously, when you're working somewhere, you're at your job, and somebody is asking you, how do you feel about certain things? I'm not saying you're going to lie per se. What she did say has some truth in it. One time, there were times where women couldn't even be featured on the Titantron or the screen. Because I remember one time was it Carmella? She was accidentally shown, and WWE had to apologize for that. A lot of the stuff with wars and all this other things that's going on, it is very scary for them to even go out there, even if things are a lot better. The first shows, they didn't even have women wrestlers. Dana didn't even have an interview or announcer and stuff. But now women can wrestle, but now they have to be covered up. What's going on, LaShawn? But still, it's small progress, but obviously it's not as progressive as how we are in the States. So people are like, literally like, I don't know if people just wanted to find somebody to be mad at. I would say be mad at Paul and the people who doing these deals for them to go all the way over there. I mean, I don't think Bianca was like, yeah, we need to go back over there. And then they do have like videos and pictures of her, having fun with her friends and stuff at the pool and stuff like that. Certain things have changed out there. I can't sit here and say everything that has changed, but still, that's somewhere that they want to go. But for y'all to, not y'all like everybody, but for some to get mad at her because they want her to say, hey, we need to go somewhere else and stuff. Y'all want her to lose her job? Like, come on, y'all. We got to do better than that. We got to do better than that. Some of us go to work and we may or may not like our job, but what we ain't going to do is we ain't going to go online and speak about it and stuff. We're not going to have the logo or the spot. And, and if you do, you get fired. Look at all these TikTokers and all of these people, saying personal opinions about crazy things that happen or just anything, and they got their logo or the job on them, and they wind up getting fired because you are representing your job because you have a logo on there. So Bianca, I don't think that she should, all of this negative stuff should be warranted from her. She's just doing it. I don't know if I asked you this yet, Chris. Watch out, you working at a restaurant? No, I don't work at a restaurant. I'm a lab technician. I just have this on because what I work with, I don't want it to get into my locks because it'll be difficult to get out even if I wash it because I have wicks. I don't have just regular thin locks. I have wicks. So that's why I wear this a lot. But still, I don't think whatever she said was warranted for people to be like, oh, you should say this, you should say that, and all of this stuff. Because let's be honest here, even though we have women have a lot more liberties and rights and stuff out here, some people still think that's not enough. Some people still don't feel like this is a good place to stay. They got people that left the country because of certain things and certain laws and certain things that they're trying to change. So still, it's to each their own. Like I said, I do remember like one of the last things I did see through WWE was they was finally allowing women to drive, and it was like they didn't do that before and stuff like that. But if that's where WWE want to go, that's where they want to go. I know some people have options to go, and some people are just going to go because it's just a part of their job. But I don't think she should get mad. I don't think people should get mad and stuff. Thunder Rosa, AEW superstar, she kind of spoke about it too, saying like, hey, there is some progress and stuff like that, but we all know that like some of this stuff with the women, the only reason why women can't do certain things is because of like the government and certain religions over there. And there's some truth to that too. But at the same time, it is somewhat of some progress for women wrestling. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best or whatever like that, because we've talked about like how they held WWE hostage like the first show they did because it was certain situations that was going on about money and people getting held up. So yeah, I will put my head on a swivel, and I am praying that they do go there and come back. But still, it is small progress with certain things. I just think that like, here we have a lot of freedom to do a lot of stuff. You can express yourself, and sometimes that comes with a crazy cost too, by the way. But still, you can express yourself. Women can do a whole bunch of things and stuff like that. But still, some places do want to see wrestling. Some of these are people that go to these shows are actually legit fans. And, I think that's a treat for them who want to go and actually see it. But still, when you get the chance, check out the new Wrestling World Order. Deatrice Davis, the new wrestler, goes live. Yeah, I try to check that out when I can, bro. But still, I don't think that she should. What's going on, Pro Gamer? I don't think that people should like get mad at her because of what she said because it's job security. I mean, last week or this week we talked about Bryan Danielson saying like AEW is the reason why Cody Rhodes is a big megastar in WWE, and it's like obviously he's trying to promote the company that he's at. He's trying not to give any leeway to WWE and whatever Cody is doing there. And we also talked about how he said he didn't feel like his main event at WrestleMania 30 meant that much to him because a lot of things didn't go on the way he wanted to and stuff like that. He said he liked the matches he's had in New Japan or AEW and stuff like that over one of the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time. One of the, not the, but still. So people do this all the time, regardless of the company that they are, regardless if they like it or not. If somebody's going to ask them a question about something or something that they work for, they're going to give their best answer that they can do. You know, people always hate on Bianca, and that's true. I think some of her criticism, some of it is warranted as far as like her title reign that she had, honestly, because it kind of went on a little bit too long. And like this was the time where WWE was doing like 1 year long title runs. Like if you had a title, you had it for a year, and then Roman having his for 3, almost 4 years and stuff like that. Like it was just long title reigns, and I think she fell in that vortex too. But it is weird that they found the black woman, to ask that kind of question and stuff like that, and be like, hey, why don't you answer this about history? Now, yeah, people be saying stuff about it and stuff, and it's just like I remember. I don't know if you guys, what's his name, Sam Roberts. He used to have a fro. This was like a few years ago, and you know WWE does a thing where they put people who got podcasts and radio shows and stuff on panels. And I remember like one of the things he said that really irks me to this day was that basically Bianca was just basically a ponytail, like a flash in the pan with a ponytail. And I was like, boy, I can't stand you. I can't stand him since then. But still, at the same time, and they hate on Roman too and made the business. Yeah, it did. Roman's reign, pun intended, did very good business for not only just WWE but wrestling as a whole. But for Bianca, y'all, I was like, man, some of y'all just need to chill out. Like even Thunder Rosa's comments was like, okay, I get what you're saying, but still at the same time, you wrestling for a company that I'm sure sometimes you don't want to do certain things, but you go out and do it. I remember when she had to vacate the women's title because she said she was injured and stuff, and it was like it wasn't even like out in the ring. It was like a backstage segment where CM Punk, when he got injured, he got in the middle. So it was just like, that's not a progress in women's wrestling when you have a segment in the back when you should be in the middle of the ring crying and stuff like that. I'm not sitting here saying like I'm just picking on Thunder Rosa or whatever, but people pick and choose what they want to get mad at to prove a point. But then when somebody try to flip it on them, then it is a problem. I'm just saying because, women's wrestling has been progressing, but also you have some stuff. Some of these matches are bad because some of these women are just wrestling because they're women and people are supporting women's wrestling, but then the quality is trash. There's a lot of posts protect women's wrestling, but some of these women wrestlers aren't actually wrestling. They're just women who's trying to wrestle. They're not even women wrestlers, or they're not showing up to shows. It's just a lot of stuff that goes with the territory of that kind of situation or whatever like that. And I think that Thunder, I don't think she really should have said the part about the religions and stuff like that, because people have all kind of religions and stuff like that. There's different kind of religions out there and stuff like that. So it's always a slippery slope when you try to bring those kind of things in certain situations, because religion, culture, and all of this stuff is very, very important. So I'm sure if somebody would have said something about her culture that she wears probably on her sleeve, people would either get offended or she would get upset with it. I remember when she said she hated when Brock Lesnar showed up dressed up with a sombrero and had a mariachi band when he was doing the feud with Eddie Guerrero, and she said she felt offended by it. But I heard nothing when she was in AEW and Vicky Guerrero told her, mind you, Vicky is Hispanic as well, go get a green card. Nothing. So you get what I'm saying? You didn't speak out against the company that you work for and say, hey, how dare you do this to a woman of color? You didn't do none of that. And it's like I said, it's not no jabs to Thunder. I'm actually a big fan of hers, but I do think it's just ironic that people move the goalposts when either they're trying to be so profound. Like, you can be right, but you can also bring up stuff as well, since you want her, or you expect her to say certain things. You get what I'm saying? So She's a Latina, but still, I do think that Bianca was the wrong person for people to try to. If there's a difference between those two, Hispanic and Spanish, I apologize. I grew up thinking most of that was the same. So I do apologize to anybody who I offend. And even then, you see how I'm holding myself accountable to something that I may or may not know about? That's very, very important. So, nah, she is she? I don't think nah. I don't think so. Now I got to do some research when I get home. Now I'm just saying in general, Robert. I got to do some research. Dang. Anyway, still, I do think that Bianca is the wrong person to try to put blame on or try to shun. How dare you say that when they're going through so much stuff? I'm like, a lot of stuff is going through stuff. You know, you'd be surprised in other countries that probably got a lot of stuff that's going on. It's just either not promoted right or with some kind of agenda. And then, you know, those kind of things happen. I'm good, bro. I'm good. So, still. So, I want to speak about this before I go. So, Andrade left. Apparently, he's been in the alumni section for the past 2-3 days. Okay, she's Mexican American descent. And that's another loophole of stuff, too. But that's for another time. But still. So, it's coming out that, like, it was certain things that he was frustrated with since he returned to WWE, last year? Beginning of this year? Like, he was upset with a lot of stuff. He felt that, like, he should have been utilized better. There were some storylines that he didn't like. They wanted him to go to AAA because, you know, there's a lot of stuff with AAA. And like I said, it's just crazy with Heritage and all of this other stuff. And he didn't want to do that. Then he was supposed to be a legend tag team match, title match against the Wyatts, and he ain't want to do that. Then they said he didn't even want to answer the phone when they was calling him, and he just wasn't responding, so they just let the man go, or he left, whatever came first. I'm going to speak about that. Now, people need to understand that if you are a wrestler, or even if you had a job, role players are very important. And sometimes you have to realize that you may not be in the position that you want to be in. If it's wrestling, if it's anything, sometimes you can work hard and move around, and sometimes they'll just have you stagnant as one thing. Remember, when Cody left WWE the first time, he was Stardust, and they wanted him to stay at Stardust, and he did not want to be Stardust. So what did he do? He left and invested in himself and stuff like that and made himself undeniable, right? Andrade, I don't know if he was going to do the same thing because, you know, he left AEW. And it was, I don't want to say on bad terms, but it definitely was some terms. And I ain't talking about presidential. So now he's leaving WWE on some terms. Now he can go to the independent scene. He can go to other companies and stuff, and maybe they'll give him what he wants. And these are all allegations, by the way. But I'll also say this, when every time it's something with WWE falling out with a wrestler or somewhat, it's not always WWE's fault. It's not always their fault. Sometimes these wrestlers can be unbearable. Sometimes these wrestlers feel entitled. Sometimes they feel like they owed something. Sometimes they're like, no, I don't want to do that. That don't make sense. Sometimes these kind of things happen. I mean, we talk about Stone Cold. Stone Cold was supposed to go against Brock Lesnar in one of the opening match qualifiers for the King of the Ring years ago. Stone Cold was like, no, I don't want to do that because you need to build this. This is like basically a pay-per-view match and stuff. You need to build this, and y'all want basically Brock and me to do this. And he was like, no. And then Vince was like, you either do that or you leave. Stone Cold left. And he felt bad. He held himself accountable, saying like he shouldn't have left the way he did. But, you know, he felt like something. So sometimes wrestlers feel the same way. There's companies I don't work for no more, or I didn't like certain things that happen. Those kind of things happen. Sometimes it's our fault. Sometimes it's the company's fault or whatever like that. But Andrade leaving, I think that he was very, very talented. As far as how I viewed him in WWE since his return, I think he was just there. I know he was like a speed champion. Stone Cold was right. Yeah, but it could have been done a little better. I mean, I don't even think it could have been done better. If they sitting here saying they was going to fire you, then he's probably just going to fire him anyway. But he said he wish he would have did it better, but he was right. At the end of the day, he was right. Sometimes you do go to work and you do have to just do your job, even if you want to do it or not. Because you either want to get paid or you want to do certain things, or you are contractually obligated to do those kind of things. But still, it is right. Brock Lesnar versus Stone Cold is definitely a pay-per-view match. It's not a qualifier for a King of the Ring match. If anything, that's like the King of the Ring main event. The finals, who's going to win. That's not something that you just have as a qualifier. Like, they do that now still to this day, even though Vince is not here, they still do that kind of stuff. It's like, hey man, this is pay-per-view quality and y'all giving it away on free TV. It is what it is. But I do wish the best for Andrade. Like, I did like, for the most part, some of the stuff he did with Carmelo Hayes. I did feel like, did they need to do a best of 7 series? No, I don't think they needed to. It'd be different if they didn't have a draft and they was wrestling on Raw and SmackDown. So it was like, what? It's about 7 weeks or 7 weeks of them fighting. They did tag. They did send him. He was tagging with like the Dragon Lee and Ray Phoenix and all this other stuff. And it's like, that's another thing. It was like WWE at one point was pairing a lot of the Hispanic wrestlers together. And it was just like, all right, y'all, I'm watching y'all because, like, what are y'all doing? And then this AAA deal happened. And a lot of people from the wrestlers, the Lucha Libre wrestlers, a lot of them saying that they love the money and the attention that they getting and stuff. And some people just like, I don't want to go. Andrade was definitely one of those ones. I ain't going. He said, I ain't going. So they either let him go or he left. That's crazy. That's pretty big for a wrestling company to call you, the number one wrestling company that's making all this money, to call you, and you like, nah, I'm not gonna answer. I do think it's other internal issues as well with the Andrade situation. Like, let's be clear, Andrade, Charlotte divorced Andrade, and almost as soon as the divorce was finalized, Andrade showed the world that he had a son. And that wasn't Charlotte's son. That was somebody he stepped out on his marriage with and had a child. He had a baby on Charlotte Flair, his wife. So, like I said, I'm not an advocate for infidelity and stuff like that, but I also think that is something that probably kind of messed him up and put him in the doghouse, because Charlotte Flair does have a little pull because she is one of the greatest women wrestlers of all time. And yes, I still stand on that hill. But still, with even that being said, I think that's just one of those things, because it's like, as soon, yeah, he did. He had one out of wedlock, and he was an adulterer because he slept with somebody that wasn't his wife. And I don't want to get into more details with that, but almost as soon as Charlotte was talking about a divorce, he posted that he had a son. And not only did he have a son, that son was like, had to be either 3, 4, 5 years old. Man was walking and already calling him Dada. So, Andrade. But still, that was funny. But still, I think that's something that probably could have put him in a doghouse, because if Charlotte says, I don't want to be around him, do y'all think that they're going to choose Andrade over Charlotte? No, they're not. They're not going to. They're going to separate them, and they're going to try to make best of what it is. They probably still had plans for Andrade, but as soon as you start saying no, they're like, all right, well, you got to go. Charlotte Flair don't do it for wrestling for me, wise. Andrade. Yep, Andrade. He was Andrade. Andrade. Yes, he was. El Idolo Andrade. But like I said, I do hope, obviously, he's a great father to his child. The child is innocent in this whole situation. The child just showed up. It was like, Daddy, Andrade. But still. So he's gone, and, I don't think he's going back to AEW. I do think he could go on to independence. I do think he can go to Mexico. There's a lot of Lucha Libre companies down there outside of AAA. He could do MLW if they want him. He could do Impact and stuff like that. But if he is hard to work with, he may be hard to work with these other companies too. May want more money, may want certain things, may want to be covered with this, may want titles. Because usually it's a cycle. It's like, as soon as wrestlers, ex-WWE wrestlers, or even AEW get released, they get checked. They become belts. Like, a lot of people talking about they don't like Mercedes Moné because she got 9 belts. That's how a lot of people do with a lot of these wrestlers, because they want them to come in and they want to put the belt on them to, like, put more eyes on their product. And sometimes it just doesn't work. It just don't. How much you want to bet Andrade gonna call TK? If he do, I'm gonna be shocked. I'm gonna be shocked, because they say he felt a certain way when he left AEW. So, because he just showed up, he just showed up to WWE. Was it the Royal Rumble? So I'd be shocked if he does show up to AEW. But who knows? I mean, people can be cool and then do something else. You know what I'm saying? But still. But yeah, I did want to speak about that for a little bit. Leave Bianca alone. have your opinions about it, but leave her alone. Like trying to get on her about her comments about women wrestling and all of that stuff. Like, come on, man, find something else to be mad at. Be mad at Paul. And I'm not sitting here saying like rage baiting y'all to be mad at somebody, but she ain't the one that said, okay, let's sign contracts to go all the way over there and get all of this money. She didn't do that. The company did. TKO and them did. Y'all, come on, man. We gotta stop that. Future WWE champion. And maybe that's what he wanted. And who knows? Maybe that was in his, maybe that's what they told him. Hey, you'll be a champion one day in WWE if you resign. And then lo and behold, it was only the Speed champion, that Twitter championship. I don't even know if they still doing that. But still, who knows? Like I said, I do wish Andrade the best. I do wish everybody the best. I wish all the best too and stuff like that, what he does wrestling wise, because I don't think he's going to retire. He may take a break or whatever, but he's definitely not retiring. But did want to speak about that, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about certain things. I will definitely come back and comment. Got to get back to work. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Yeah, the Speed Championship. And I thought that was trash, but I understood it because usually on social media, our attention span, we're not about to sit down and watch the 10-minute video on our phone unless it's like a big major match. So they was like 5-minute matches or 1-minute matches or whatever. They had a time limit because it was on Twitter, now X. And, you know, the shorter the match, the more people will probably pay attention to it. So, but yeah, definitely got to go. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home. Speed Championship is trash. They have too many belts, but that's another live. I'll see you guys.